Have him come up here, Titus Kinimaka. All right, Uncle Titus. So good to see these guys. All right, so we got one mic to share between you guys.
Hey, that's okay. We're good.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm actually going to pass my mic along as well. And first of all, I want to start off with you guys. Where did you start surfing? You know, because I want to take it all the way back. Where did you guys start surfing? And tell us a little bit about that time where you guys started, because things have changed a lot right now, and I want to hear about some of the your initiations into surfing and the love of the ocean.
Okay, Brian, you go first and I'll follow. These guys. Anyway, how's it, you guys? No. Thanks for coming tonight, even though you guys never come to see us, guys. I know you guys here anyway, celebrating something. Anyway, as far back as I can remember, growing up at Macau Beach, you know, my father being Buffalo, and during that pioneer stage where my uncles was Greg Noel and Buzzy Trent and George Downing and all these pioneer guys on Macau Beach, the world of surfing, you know, was normal to me. Seeing these extreme watermen play ukuleles, fish, dive, laugh, play, you know, with the ocean. And being on Waterman was, they would body surf, they would dive, and that was the whole lifestyle back then, you know. And what we see nowadays with, you know, surfing being modernized and westernized and, you know, technologically with all the leashes and life vests and everything else you see. Back then was real simple and was fun. There was no boombox. You create your own music. There was no restaurants. You catch your own food. So, you know, back in the days, it was real rich days back then. I feel that I was blessed and rich, you know, and Melvin was right there alongside of me. So all the lickings I had from my dad, he had the other half also too. But that was all lifestyle growing up. So, and till this day on the west side, you know, my father and everyone else has passed that knowledge on, and it's still being portrayed, you know, today. So saying that, I'll let Melvin carry the rest of the half.
Okay, I got it. Well, I actually started surfing in front of Mount Lai because you have to graduate to go to Makaha. So I surfed in a little cubby hole we call cornets. And the board we used had a fin that was round. So if you can just think about what kind of fins they were. It took 3 of us to take the board down the beach. One to carry the nose, one to carry the tail, and the other guy to carry the bucket of mangoes because that was our lunch. So Coinaz was the first start. Then we graduated. We went out to Shark Island. Was about 150 yards out. Then when you got really good, then you chanced Makaha. So that was about 7, 8 years old. And about 9 years old, I started chanting Makaha. And I learned pretty much everything that I know from surfing at Makaha and hanging out with the Beach Boys. And mostly Buffalo, you know. He had this saying, if you wasn't in the water, you was getting into trouble. So he would keep me and myself and Brian, especially me, out of trouble by keeping us in the water, either going surfing or being his floater boy. You know, you drag in the floater with all the dead fish, and then something comes and takes a couple off, and you be screaming, "Dad, something took the fish." But yeah, you start off as in your little backyard, and then you graduate, then you go to Makaha. That's where I started.
All right, so Uncle Titus, a little bit about your start with surfing.
Well, I started surfing back in 1957. But I learned how to surf on Kauai, and I was about 2 years old. Back then, Kauai was it was so chill that our island, everybody on the island only surfed, particularly at one particular spot was in Wailua, Kauai, in front of the Coco Palms Hotel, and that break was pretty incredible wave. But I grew up on the beach, beach boy my whole life. Learned how to fish, dive, swim, set nets from my brother, and my brother was Leleo Kinimaka, and he was from here on Oahu, and yeah, he's Leleo Senior. It's Leleo Junior over there, my nephew Mike, and he was my hero and the guy I looked up to my whole life, because taught me everything about the ocean, diving, swimming, fishing, lifeguarding, and I have 8 brothers and 8 sisters, so we all had to learn how to do the surf thing and the lifeguard thing. We all did the lifeguard stuff, and we all surfed, and my whole family surfed. My mom surfed, my dad surfed, and my grandma surfed, my grandpa surfed. Everybody surfed. That's all we did, and it was really simple. Everything was simple. Fishing was really easy. Set net for the family every night. Pick up the net in the morning. That's how we ate. You know, it was pretty basically simple. I'd surf all day for 8 hours, 10 hours a day, and just eat coconuts and mangoes and avocados and papayas and bananas, and it was good, very good. It's good life.
And there was a good life.
Sweet life, and the waves were. I don't know if you guys, if I'm making it up or what, or if it was a dream, but I think the waves were a lot better then. Nah, just kidding. It was pretty good back then, only because there wasn't very many people around, and on Kauai there was literally nobody around, and I'd surf Hanalei by myself and sit out in the water by myself and go, man, I just pulled into this insane barrel and nobody saw it. Did it really happen? Did that tree really fall? Did you hear it fall? No. But yeah, so living in Hanalei was just so perfect, and I wish you guys all could have been there, really. You would have loved it.
All right, the age of innocence. So, and it's true, because surfing back then was more of a secret. Now it's a global. Now we have a lot of participants, and it's a great thing for everybody to enjoy now. But it has certainly expanded for everyone to
Also
enjoy.
the camaraderie as well, because back in the day there's no leashes, so if you lost your board, you'd have to swim, and Hanalei is a long swim, and if you had to swim a half a mile, you'd have to swim half a mile, and so because there's no leashes there's a lot of camaraderie. Your friend would go over there and get your board, and that's what everybody did, go get your buddy's board, because it's only 2 of you out in the water, so it's it's a pretty magic time, and I'm sure you all have had your magic moments here on the North Shore, but wherever we surf, and I'm just really, really, really glad to be here tonight to share with you guys just a little bit of history, just a small bit of history, but there is so much spirit in this room tonight. I can feel it. I mean, you guys are just pouring out so much energy, and I can see in the faces of all the youth here. It's just amazing, the energy that you guys are putting out. You guys have no idea, and the way the surfing is going now, the level it's at right now is just amazing. You guys are just doing the most incredible surfing I've ever seen in my life, and I'm just proud to be in this time, in this era, and I love all you guys, and you guys are just a bunch of incredible surfers and athletes, and just keep it up. I love you guys so much.
All right. Good to hear. So what about for you, Archie, starting off surfing?
Well, believe it or not, my surfing actually started at Pokai Bay. My dad was in the military, and I remember summers, we'd spend the summers at the Waianae Rest Camp, and that's where my surfing began. But my history is on Maui, and my grandfather, people come up to me today and say that, your grandfather, the knowledge he had of the West Coast in West Maui was the knowledge that he had, and for him sharing that with me, it went beyond surfing. It really started with me learning about the coastline, learning about the tides, the time to fish, where to fish, what to fish for. And that really sparked an interest for me to stay in the water. And, venture off into other things. But that's where my surfing started in Pu'u Bay and all over West Maui, Lahaina Harbor, Break Wall, Honolulu Bay. Those were some of the spots that I grew up in and surfed at. And it's really funny because, like Titus said, Melvin said, back in the day, these places that people are surfing today, stand-up surfing and surfing, 30 years ago, nobody would surf there. You would never find anybody there, and there's for many reasons, whether it be because sharks patrol that area, but it's funny because I talk to the old-timers like Snake Hahi from West Maui, and we talk about, look at where all these people are surfing today, where people never surfed at one time. It's just amazing to see and to be part of and know intimately your waters, your coastline has been really, really special for me. And to see where people are surfing today, it's kind of awesome. And I can relate to Titus and Melvin and Brian when we talk about surfing places where nobody surfed before. And that's part of, I think, the quest that we have is find that one more spot that nobody ever surfs that you can enjoy by yourself.
Well, that's a great point, and also to Snake Ahi, Polynesian Voyaging Society, also yourself a member of the Polynesian Voyaging Society. Another thing about these four men right here, they're not just near-shore surfers. They're equally adept at sailing, fishing, and that's what makes a waterman is the true understanding of everything in the ocean. And talking about access, that brings me on to my next question and my next point for you gentlemen. Each one of you have been really influential in ocean safety. And that's not just because you're Kanaka Maoli, not just because you're Hawaiians, but because you spend so much time in the ocean. Naturally, you guys are guardians of the ocean and guardians of people that are in pursuits of the ocean. And each of you have had numerous rescues, have developed some great techniques, and now some of those techniques are used globally to save not just 10 lives, but hundreds of lives every single year. Brian, I'm going to open up the discussion to you on the development of ocean safety, and in particular, I want to highlight how you guys got the PWC involved in ocean safety.
Yeah, well, ocean safety is, there's levels and layers of safety, right? We talked about this where, you can be safety in a personal relationship of safety or amateur relationship of safety. And then for us, it's a professional level of safety. And it all boils down to a process, and we teach ocean risk management. But, getting to the point of, the ocean, when we say respect the ocean, it's not something that, you bow down and, praise the ocean and stuff like that. When you say the word respect, another word for respect is educate. Educate yourself of what all the strengths and weaknesses of that entity that you're up against. It's like you wouldn't go up against the Anderson Silva, not knowing all his strengths and weaknesses fighting MMA, So you make sure that by giving him respect, you would understand all his strengths and weaknesses. So same with the ocean, For us all over here, we can, blindfold us guys. Like I would tell you guys, if I would blindfold you and tell you come to my house and find my remote control and turn on my TV set, would probably be hard. But if I would take you to your house and blindfold you and say, run to your remote control and your TV set, that's possible. So for us, that's how we train. We make our ocean environment our home. And that's the way we train our whole team and stuff also too. So, that's the thing about safety is having that knowledge and the ability, to utilize the technology that we have nowadays, whether it be a surfboard, swim fins, or the use of the personal watercraft. And, nowadays we use the jet skis, and from Melvin, Titus, Archie, me, we teach guys worldwide about the use of the ski. But the ski doesn't have one brain. It can enhance and augment your mind and your ability, but also if you know more that knowledge or the ability can enhance your stupidity. So, that's why we train. Yeah. So anyway, Melvin and Archie can kind of go along that depth.
Well, I don't know about blindfolding me because I still cannot find my remote. I'm yelling, "Where's the remote?" As soon as I get home, but that's besides the point. Yeah, we are pretty much we're in the same era of life saving together. When things started to really move on and start to evolve and start to happen. Um, we literally all had our moments where we had to swim out or paddle out and grab one or two people that was in persons that were in trouble and literally bring them in. And sometimes we wouldn't make it to the beach. We'd end up a couple miles down the coast, but we'd make it into the beach and we hit a ride.
Wait, I got to bust in here. So I'm going to tell you guys this story. So before pre-jet skis, we used to water patrol Sunset on surfboards. That's the way we used to lifeguard the event. And this one year, it was closing out Sunset, running 15, 18 plus through the West Bowl. And the current, if a lot of the guys know Sunset, this current is not going out through Camis. It's going straight through the West Bowl.
Straight
it's
through.
You in. So I remember Michael wiped out on a wave. And then, it's like, we got to grab him. So we're trying to coach Michael out of that rip. And he's, come and get me. So anyway.
And at the same time, we're paddling out of the rip, telling him, come over here because the current's sucking us straight into the rip, into the impact zone.
So anyway, we screaming. We crying like little kids out there, all of us guys. And Randy Rarick was, on the inside, nice and safe. And we all flipping out because we, postponed this contest. So we grab Michael, take him in, get out there. Meanwhile, Melvin got hit by a wave. So now he's the victim swimming in that rip. And he's looking at me with his bug eyes, looking at me, screaming.
I'm going, Brian, come over here. He said, no, you come over here. Yeah. I go, no, you get your B over here.
So
he had to come.
High voices, a lot of swearing, back and forth. Only has two guys in the ocean, so it's me, him, and God that communicating with each other. So that's what's happening out there. So finally, we rescue each other, and we got to catch this wave in. And the only way you can get in is you got to get whacked by a giant wave for getting in. That's the only way you can get in. So we would let the last of the sets go through and then try to paddle in that rip and get beyond the impact zone so we can get hit by this big wave. And we both know the board going to make them to shore. What happens is if we still hanging onto that board.
Just hang on to the board. It's going to take you in.
So we got whacked, and we both survived, and we both came in. And Randy's trying to send out the next heat. And
we told him, no, it's done. Randy, pack up.
And Melvin, telling him no. And he's trying to run. So we ended up grabbing him by the arm. And Randy,
we're taking you out there. And he said, that's all right. We're shutting down.
So anyway, true story, bud.
But anyway, that's pre-jet ski days, at Macau. If you catch on a 20, 25-foot day, guys get cracked outside. We were on the beach. We'd have to literally drive down the beach, down the coast, go through the empty lot, paddle out to head them off at the pass. Because we have a current that we call the super current. It just kind of takes you backside. And it took us all the way. It literally got the guy halfway to Lahi, tried to come in, got in, then we had to catch a ride back. Those were the type of days. And I'm sure Titus had a lot of those caught in the current rescue days. But those were pre-jet ski days. And then the light came on. And that light was bright. And Brian came in and goes, we're watching Brian take off at the iCal, and he gets smashed. And in the meantime, we used to watch Squiddy and Franco. And they used to come in with the stand-up jet skis and literally come in and go, hey, how you doing? Because, okay, bye. And the way you rescue people back in those days was it was a stand-up one, and you literally had to lay down, go up to the guy, and tell him, hang on to your waist. You put your legs around him, and you give it some gas, and the gas would hit you right in the area that hurts the most, and then you drag him out slowly, and that was how those rescues were made. Well, Brian's Brian is kind of an innovator in our family. He thinks because we used to read a lot of comics, and he really felt that we could someday fly, and he still thinks we can. And it's not going to be long before we do. But Brian had the idea when he got hit on the head on a, what was your word, 25-foot macker at the I call when Eddie the Squiddy came in with the jet ski, and he went up to Brian and told Brian, "Brian, are you okay?" And Brian looked at Squiddy and said, "Go, go, go! I'm okay, I'm okay." And he saw Squiddy just zoom out, and the idea came on. He said, "We need something like that," and that was the start of the whole jet ski concept.
All right, so yeah, and so jet ski, the jet ski safety and ocean safety is something that all of these people use around the world now. Standard practice in the ASP, standard practice with a lot of lifeguard organizations globally. But Archie, I want to talk to you a little bit about the jet ski. The jet ski opened up a particular break on Maui that you were a pioneer of. And now it has a lot of media of attention, and you can see every single swell. I'm talking about Jaws, Pe'ahi, Archie Kalepa. You're one of the pioneers out there, and I think the jet ski enabled you guys to get out there. I want to hear about the early years of Pe'ahi.
Well, you know, I actually wasn't the pioneers. Buzzy Kerbox was one of the pioneers.
Buzzy's in the house too, by the way. Buzzy Kerbox is here.
And Buzzy's my tow partner, so.
So-
But you know, back in the early days, before life jackets, I remember the early days when we were using leashes, and we just started downsizing the big boards, riding shorter boards, putting straps on them. We're using leashes and you know, no life jacket. And now when I look back and I think about how crazy that was, and it was a learning process. Being a lifeguard, having that knowledge, that technology, introducing it to guys like Buzzy and Laird, and then they taking it to the next level with the towing stuff, and being a part of that and seeing that whole thing evolve was really, really interesting. But the thing is, everybody was constantly changing and making adjustments so that we could continue to push ourselves and push the level of performance out at this particular spot, Pe'ahi Jaws. And you know, I remember riding bigger boards and then smaller boards, and then one day somebody went down, and the board was tombstoning. And the guys went in to grab them, and when they tried to rescue them, the ski got totally demolished, because when you grab the guy and there's a leash on the board's tombstoning, it acts like a sea anchor. So the ski really couldn't, you know, get out of that situation, and then that's where we eliminated the whole leash thing. And I think it was 5 years after eliminating the leash is where we introduced the life jackets. We started wearing life jackets. Now, when you think about a surfer on a surfboard wearing a life jacket, that's pretty kooky. Back in the early days, you think, all right, you know, the life jackets weren't really made for surfing big waves at the time. You were wearing what the jet ski guys were wearing. And so just breaking through that acceptance of, hey, this piece of safety equipment is going to bring me to the surface quicker, it's going to help me, it's going to protect me. And having the training all the guys on the jet ski, that crew or core of guys that were out there, you know, us guys, knowing how to go in and rescue somebody and pick up somebody, knowing what the ski was capable of in 20 feet of whitewater. I mean, you can imagine actually going in to pick somebody up in 20 feet of foam, and that's all air. So the ski actually falls through the foam and to the water. So it's you know, it was a really, really scary time. And when I look back at the kinds of skis that we were using, which is what we call the turtles today, it's like mind-boggling that how the hell did we ever survive? It's a 650 jet ski. It's, you know, compared today, you're riding 1200s, 1800s. You can get in and out of there. Back in the day, what we were using was like, you know, thank God we're alive. And it's just really, really awesome to see where it's come from, where it's going, and being a part, all of us here, being a part of sharing our knowledge with this group of guys, the next generation, and everybody's taking bits and pieces to keep themselves safe in these extremely dangerous conditions.
That's right. And I look to you gentlemen as the foundation and how it has evolved. You guys certainly being but the foundation of it. So that's on the extreme end. Titus, you have a surf school in Hanalei, and you also deal with people every day, ocean safety. And let's talk about the normal, just not extreme environment, but just everyday ocean safety, what you guys teach to some of your students that are experiencing the ocean.
Well, we basically just try to teach practical common sense. But I got a little point to make about the jet skis. When the jet ski came into the scene, it changed the whole program. Back in the day, guys like Buffalo Keaulana and Rabbit Kikai were like mystic men. They were like gods. They were like people thought they were like mystical people, and which I believe they still are. I really do. And guys like that really influenced guys like myself when I was young. I was like, what? These guys are riding 25-foot waves at Makaha? And I was from Kauai, and I was like, hey, I want some of that. I want to be like that. I want to be riding giant waves. And so my whole life, I've kind of dedicated my life to big giant waves. So when the jet ski came into the scene, it changed the whole program for guys like myself and like 4 of us up here. We wanted it. We wanted to grab onto that and be part of it and make the difference. Because back in the day in the country out here, the surf contest has lasted 9 months, and they would take most of the best waves of the whole season. And so the people who was hurting was the locals, the people who live here. I mean, this contest is 9 months long. Come on, So now contests are only like 2 months long, or if even that. But that was a strange time because the locals weren't getting it. They weren't getting the surf. It was all going into the media thing, and it was I thought it was out of control. So when the Hui came back into the scene, we took everything back, and we got back our water rights, so to speak, and we were recognized as the guys. When we came back out there and started the Hui, and thanks to Eddie Rothman, and Eddie Rothman changed the whole program back to the way it should be and the way it is today. And I just want to say thank you, Eddie Rothman, for being the person that you are. And I love you so much because you made the biggest change here on the North Shore for everybody that's happening today. And some of the best surfers have that surfing here on the North Shore and the pipeline are coming out from, I kind of say like Eddie Rothman's kind of crew, the Hui crew, and just the attitude that we had back in the day to charge and take back and be in control. And so I just want to say thanks to Eddie Rothman for that opportunity that here we are today, and that everybody's benefiting from that change in time. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say.
Well, certainly, and we want to mahalo Uncle Eddie if he's in the house tonight, but also acknowledge him as someone who's been a great influence on not just Hawaiian surfers, but taking in surfers from across the globe and teaching them the way. And the Hui, of course, Mahina and the crew over there, Scotty, the whole crew, helping out beach cleanups. We have the wonderful 4th of July paddle race that hopefully all of you stand-up paddlers can make it here for that wonderful 4th of July paddle race that the Hui puts on that we keep on expanding on. But back to ocean safety and rescues, Titus, can you tell us a little bit about, it's a famous rescue at Waimea Bay. Your femur was snapped, and you were out in the ocean. And
that one.
That one.
Okay.
So we're gonna backtrack a little bit. So Titus is surfing Waimea Bay, takes a horrible wipeout, and realizes his femur, the
Okay.
biggest bone in his body, is snapped.
Okay, it was 1989, Christmas Day, and the night before I couldn't sleep. The surf was just pounding, and I spent the night at Don King's house in Keiki. And so, as you already know, we're right on the beach, and the waves are just pounding all night, and I just couldn't sleep. I was pacing all night. I got up at about 3 in the morning, and I was just like walking out on the beach, and I look at the waves through the moonlight, and I was like, oh, it's giant. So I stayed up, did a workout, some stretching, and then the sun kind of came up, the light was coming up, so I went to Waimea, and I was there on the beach about 5:30, 5:45 or so. And I paddled out, and I thought I was the first guy out, but there was a girl out already, and it was Phyllis Dameron.
So that was Phyllis Dameron, famous bodyboarder.
She
out
was
at
out
Waimea Bowl.
before me. There's one person out before me. It was Phyllis, and she got this monster wave, and I saw this girl take off on a boogie board, free fall about 20 feet down the lip, and bounce and make it and turn into this giant barrel and just came out of the tube, and I was like, who the hell is this bitch? Right? And I couldn't believe it. I was like blown away, and it was dark. And it was just me and her, and I looked at her and I go, Phyllis? And she goes, yeah, it's me. It's me. And I was like, oh my God, that was a beautiful wave, Phyllis. And so we surfed together, and there was a bunch of people out, and then we'd been out for 3 hours, and then I was thinking about going in, and it was about 11 o'clock. Big set coming in, everybody was scratching out. Louis Ferreira was with me, and a bunch of guys, and Tommy Carroll, and the set came in, everybody was scratching, and I was like right in the spot, so I whipped it around, no paddle, take off, stand up, free fall, make the drop, and then try to pull into the barrel. I pull into the barrel, and you know how the Waimea has that clamshell? It shut down on me, boom, and I tried to power through the wave, but it collapsed right on top of me, and my board, I was standing on it, it flipped sideways. I fell on the rail as it was coming up, and I came down with the lip on the rail, snapped me right in my femur on the top of my hip here. Snapped my femur, and I couldn't feel it because it just had a little sting, and I was like, oh, that kind of smart. And I reached for my leg after I came up after the wave, and my leash was on my broken femur, on my broken leg. And I reached for my leg, and I grabbed my left leg. It was my right leg that was snapped. I grabbed my left thigh on the inside, and I was like, I took a bigger, wider reach around and came back and grabbed my same left leg again, and I was like, what the, And then the wave came around, something was smacking me in the back of the ear here like this, and I was like, what the, I grabbed this thing and I looked at it, it was somebody's foot. And I was like, whose freaking foot is this? And I was like, fuck, that's my foot. And I was like, that's my foot, And I was like, oh my God. Louis Ferreira paddles up to me and he goes, fucking broken femur, Titus. My leg back, pulling it out, pull it out, stretched it out. My leg was so stretched out. He pulled my leg out. My bones was like this. And he pulled it out, and then he made it like that and put it back like that. And I was like, don't move my freaking leg. Don't move it, right? So we're like floating around, and here comes this set, and there's sets in the middle. There's sets in the middle of the bay. There's sets in the peak, and we're in the middle of it, and we're trying to get up to the channel, and the middle of the bay's breaking on us, and then the waves, Waimea's coming down on us, so we try to get in the rip and out of the way. And so the whole while, next thing you know, no jet ski. Pre-jet ski. So we're floating around for about 45 minutes, and I'm fading out, and I go, you know what, you guys are just gonna take a nap. You guys wake me up when the chopper gets here. No, get up, stay up. Everybody's trying to keep me up. 45 minutes later, we hear a chopper coming. Chopper comes, it's hovering over the top of us, and now it's Louis, me, Derek, Ambrosio. Yeah, Dombrowski. Yeah. So there's like 5 of us in the net. The net comes down. We all get in the net, and there's 5 of us going, and the helicopter picks us up. Now we're only about 20 feet in the air off the water, but we're in the peak, and the peak is breaking right on top of the net. Like waves are going right on top of us, and it's pulling us down, and then when the wave releases us, we're shooting back up in the air, boing like that. And then everybody's like everywhere, and my leg goes through the net. My leg goes through the net, and it's going like this all over the place. And I'm like, ah! And everybody, they're trying to pull me back up through the net. I'm like, they get my leg up to the net, and they're hold my leg there, right there. And the helicopter guy doesn't know we're just hanging in the impact zone, like this, like a sack of balls right in impact zone, right? So what happens is like somebody had to paddle out of our circle, out so that guy in the helicopter can see him and goes, you got to go up, you got to go up. So he brought us up over the surf, and then he shot us up to the beach at Waimea, and he dropped us off on the beach. And by that time, my leg had been swollen up about, I swear, it was about 2 feet wide on my femur. And it was pretty gross looking and really, really, really giant and full of blood. And so I was like rushed from the ambulance into another helicopter. It was an Army helicopter that shot us over the land through Waimea Valley and over to Queens Hospital. And the whole time we were flying over, they gave me a shot of morphine, and I was like, yeah. Thank you so much. And the whole time I was flying over the Honolulu, and I was looking over the outside of the chopper, and I was going, wow, nice. This is good. And I spent 2 days in the hospital. They put a rod in my femur, and then 4 months later, I was back in the water. A lot of training, a lot of hard work, and a lot of dedication. But just like everybody else here, you guys are all warriors as well. And so I know each and every one of you out there has got the warrior spirit in you. And so keep that spirit strong and keep it going and feed it to your kids. Thank you. Aloha.
All right, so hopefully we're never going to have to experience another helicopter rescue, because these gentlemen here pioneered the jet ski rescue, the PWC rescue. So let's give another hand up for Titus Kinimaka, Mel Pu'u, Archie Kalepa, and Brian Keaulana, because that is a tremendous contribution. And we're all beneficiaries of that. So the next subject that's close to all of our hearts here at the Waterman League and the Stand-Up World Tour is stand-up paddling. And these 4 men were pretty much there at the birth of modern stand-up paddling. So that's my next question to you guys is, when you first saw it, how it came about, and some of the origins of stand-up paddling. And you know what? Actually, I'd like to give this to Archie, because I kind of remember you coming over with the Maui guys and bringing some stand-up paddling over to Oahu, and everyone was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. What is that? What are those guys doing? So can you talk a little bit about that, Archie?
I think it was a little bit of cross-training. I remember it was pretty much, back in the day, there was 3 people stand-up paddling on Maui. It was Laird Hamilton, Dave Kalama, and myself. We're pretty much the only 3 guys that was dabbling in the stand-up paddling. And, you know, we'd pull into lineups, and people didn't know what to say to us. You know, I don't know if they was wondering, like, oh, what the heck is this guy doing? And, you know, or just the fact of who we were. But we were really respectful in the lineup. And it was really funny because Buzzy was training for the Molokai paddleboard race, and him and I were pretty serious in our towing adventures at that time, and he was like, you should do the Molokai. And I was like, oh, you know, I'll consider it. And I remember training with him every day. We do the Maliko runs every single day, and it'd be just, you know, a few of us and Laird and Dave, they'd be prone paddling. And when I showed up on Molokai, Victor Lopez came out to the boat because I was on my boat, and he was like, Archie, you got to come in because everybody wants to talk to you. They heard you're going to stand up the Molokai. And I said, no. Victor, you don't understand. It's never been done. I don't know if I can do this, and I don't want to attract any attention. So then a bunch of other guys came out, coerced me to come in and talk to all the paddlers, the prone paddlers. And I remember Guy Perry coming up to me and saying, Archie, this is impossible. It can never be done. But if there was a year to do it, this was the year. And that was because the wind was fully out of the east. And I remember paddling from Molokai to Oahu, lining up on the lineup, and everybody was lying down, and I was the only guy standing up. And as we got closer and closer and closer to Oahu, when I came into Mauna Loa Bay, I said, okay, I'm done. And my wife said, no effing way, you're touching land. And my mom was sitting on the beach with all the rest of the people waiting for the paddlers to come in, and people were standing next to her because the announcer was saying, there's this guy, he's attempting to stand up paddle from Molokai to Oahu. It's never been done, this and that. And people were standing next to my mom saying, oh, that's bullshit. He didn't stand up paddle the whole way. There's no way he could have done that. My mom she kept her mouth shut. She didn't say one word to them, but she told me inside of her, she wanted to crack them on the head. And that's moms. Your parents, they support you, they back you up. And I remember as I came into Mauna Loa Bay, the wind, when you get into the bay, the wind blows out of the bay, and it's really difficult. And Aaron Napoleon was driving his boat outside of the bay, and he looks and he sees me, and I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm trying to paddle against the wind, and he's standing on the tuner tower of his boat, and he takes his hat off and he throws his hat on the deck, and he goes, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. But it's a effing Hawaiian. Yeah. So then he gets on the radio and calls all these boats, and all the boats come and they block me so that I can get to shore. And I remember halfway across the channel, somebody had called Brian and Mel and everybody at Macau, and they were saying, yeah, Archie, go, 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 go. But, I just want to say thanks to Buzzy, thanks to my wife for encouraging me to, do this. And it's really funny because I've been doing it now for 8 years. And I look, and there's like 200 people stand up paddling the Molokai Channel. And to know that I was a part of that and broke the ice so that other people could do it, and it's a big part of the Molokai Channel today is, it's really awesome to see all you guys, and I know a lot of competitors are here that participate in the Molokai Channel, and to know that, I was just one small part of contributing to people doing that.
That's right. Archie Kalepa, first man to paddle the Kaiwi Channel. 32 miles on a stand-up. People didn't think it was possible, and if anyone's paddled the channel, they know it's 32 miles in a straight line. It's a lot longer in the real day. Brian, what about your beginnings with stand-up paddling? And let's touch on the performance surfing end of stand-up paddling. I know you started on some of your boards that you were using as a world champion tandem surfer.
Yeah, so, the stand-up surfing wasn't one new thing, and what was funny was, us guys go mountain boarding with Laird, with Archie and Dave, and we up there, and Laird telling us guys, like, besides the kites we surfing with, he goes, hey, this stand-up paddling is on great cross-training. Well, yeah, Laird, like, I need more toys, But anyway, my introduction really was when I was going to Tahiti, training the Tahitians over there for water patrolling at Chopo, and Poto was with Laird, and he copied one of Laird's blade, and he made one for my birthday, and he said, hey, let's go paddle one day. So that was my introduction in Tahiti. So when I came home, nobody was doing them on the west side, so I had only tandem boards. So we took my tandem board out, and then we started playing and surfing, and then Melvin got involved, and some of the boys got involved, and the first actually stand-up surfing contest was held at my father's contest. We just went to have a fun event, but it was expensive on my part because I had all the tandem boards and everybody was borrowing my boards. So of course all my boards was getting all ding, you know. So I told the guys, next year you guys make your own boards. But from there, I think, you know, we just said, hey, you know what, this board's so big, you know. I told Dave Parman, Dave, try make me one short, you know, board and stuff too. And he goes, well, how you gonna balance it? Just try and make one shorter one. And he made the first, I consider the modern longboard, SUP. And then it's just changed everything around and stuff also too. And everybody started just, you know, flowing shorter and shorter and shorter. But, you know, not to wave on flag or claim, you know, the day of, you know, who did this and who was first and all that. I really like to give thanks to really the Choi family for continuing in Waikiki, the Beach Boys, because as kids, we were growing up. Remember, in Duke's days, they would paddle the wooden boards, and they would take their canoe paddles, and they would play and stand up. But it was more a novelty. But it was really the Choi family with them day in and day out. And all the guys that know Waikiki Beach Boys know the truth. You know, all the Choi's, all of them, the father, the brother, Leroy, and all the guys, they would paddle every single day. And there's another, you know, man that passed away, John Sabataki, him also too. So, you know, we got to remember those people that really contribute into stand-up paddling and stuff like that. I think we all kind of set one stake in the whole future of things, and everybody putting their mark on them and stuff. But it's not to claim the right of who did what. I think it's a combination of all of us as a family together to make things, you know, progressive and better, you know. And I see the things that, you know, guys like what Kai doing nowadays and what Mo doing nowadays and, you know, Slater and all the guys and stuff like that. I mean, it's mind-blowing what we see nowadays of, you know, things that, you know, we're going, wow, that's heavy, you know. That's the kind of stuff that we used to dream about, you know. And it's all reality right now. So, you know, hats off to the guys in the past and the guys in the future. Yeah.
All right. So Mel, I want you to chime in on this. You've been one of the originals, but talk about a little bit about big wave stand-up paddleboard surfing, because we know that we've seen your performance in the past. You've actually had a horrible injury before. But talk to us a little bit about big waves and stand-up paddleboarding.
Well, I think before I go into that, yeah, Brian hit it around the dot. You know, we used to actually call stand-up beach boy surfing because it originated with the Waikiki Beach Boys. And my first introduction was I used to work at 2 Bravo in Waikiki, and Leroy and Bobby every day they made a living out of stand-up surfing by paddling out with literally an airplane wing and a modified extended paddle. It looked more like an oar, and take pictures of the tourists. The tourists used to go out and surf. They'd be on their stand-up taking pictures of the tourists in the canoes, and they would have their cigarette pack and their camera with no water housing at all, and taking pictures, and then they would run in, and sometimes they would leave the board by my tower, and I go, oh, Leroy, can I borrow your board? Yeah, hurry up, I get 1 hour for 1 hour photo, right? So he'd go 1 hour photo, he'd come inside, look for the people on the beach, and I'd go out there on this thing. I was like a duck out of water at first, but that was my introduction. Big wave surfing, well, we found out that it's a little bit faster than laying down and paddling. You could actually catch a wave a little further out and drop in. And any big wave surfer would tell you, the earlier you can get up on a wave, paddle in and get up on a wave, the better you're able to position yourself. Well, stand-up surfing, you're standing up already. So that knocked one obstacle down off the bat. Surfing Macau is, like, to me, that's my favorite place anywhere in the world, big or small. Yeah, but I did have pretty bad injury. Kind of cut my leg right around to the bone, from the shin to very back of my leg. I cut the peroneal nerve. We're doing some filming, and I was going in and out, and I was having too much fun, and I did one of these. Yeah, I was doing safety work. Funny. But I remember catching waves all morning long, then paddled out, and wasn't quite in the lineup. And this set came in, and I looked at it. It was really nice, so I turned around and just took a really late takeoff, maybe 1 or 2 strokes, and I was dropping in. Literally did a free fall, and I knew I was gonna get my ass handed to me, so I tried to jump over the wave. And when I jumped over the wave, the leash and the wave just kind of kept pulling, and it pulled me back over. And somehow I met up with the board again. We got a little, I had a little collision on the water. Instantly, I grabbed my leg, didn't feel anything, so I thought I was fine. I came up and still thought I was fine. Took the next wave on my head. Then next wave came. Before the next wave, I grabbed my board, I pulled it in, and then I proned out. I remember riding the wave as far as I could, then sitting up. And then I swear about 5 feet around me just turned blood red. And I went, uh-oh. And I reached down, and my hands went right into my leg. And I could feel the bone, and I went, oh, shit. So instantly I went, hey, to the safety guys. This is Craig and Terry and Rusty. And they looked at me like, oh, what's he yelling for? And I stopped. I said, wait a minute. I'm the safety guy. Do I really want to get rescued? No, I don't. I just turned around and paddled in. Threw my paddle, just paddled in, came inside, caught a wave. I ain't going to get rescued, whatever. So I paddled in, and then Rusty came behind me with my paddle. Go, hey, here's your blade. I go, I'm not going to need it for a little while. He goes, what are you talking about? I go, try look in the back. And he noticed the color there's a trail of red. And he went berserk. Hey, somebody help him. And he's going around making circles around me. And, so I came up on the beach, and he's still screaming. And I remember walking up with the wave. And then when the wave came back down, I stumbled. And I couldn't walk. So I tried again, the next wave, stumbled again. So I figured, okay, maybe if I turn around. So I turned around, and I walked backwards. And I got up really easy. I remember Sonny, the paramedic, came running. We were filming Soul Surfer at that time. And the paramedic came running, and he came onto my right arm. And I went, hey, Sonny, try the other side. And he said, no, I got you, man. I go, no, you stupid. Go on the other side. This leg's fine. The other one's not working, okay? And he looked, and he saw the blood. He goes, oh, my God. And he helped me. I was like 5 feet away from my tent already. And I thought, just grab your kit and open up the gauze. He opened 3-4-inch gauze. And I went, what the hell are you thinking? I need a trauma pad. We wrapped it up. Literally went to the comp. As you know, the comp, you just wait there until somebody, ready to die. But luckily, I knew the people, and so they sent the mean nurse to come out there, and she looked at me and said, oh, it's you. I go, yeah, and it's me. He said, come on in. So the doctor said, okay, we got to take a look. So they opened it, and it wasn't bleeding. I stopped the bleeding. And the doctor's eyes just said everything. He went, and he said, I can't do nothing for you. You need a surgeon. You need to go to Queens right now. And my wife, with all my kids, we all jumped in the car. Said, we're going to take you in the ambulance. They go, no, we're good. So we drove to Queens. Luckily, there was this very lovely lady. This is my friend's wife that's working. She saw my name pop up, and she said, keep an eye out for this guy who's coming in. Well, to make a long story short, the Well, the resident doctor came in and he tried to stitch me up and tell me come back Friday. My wife just bit him a new asshole. Said, "Are you crazy?" And he just closed up his kit. The surgeon came in. He said, "Okay, you got to go in surgery right now." I severed my peroneal nerve at the branch of 5. Um, I severed 3 completely, and 2 was hanging by the threads. Doctor did a great job. I am about 85% back, uh, but it's getting better. And like I said, like Titus said, 6 months later, I was back surfing. My birthday came that year on January 2nd, and I stayed out there for 5 hours out at Macau Point. It was 20 feet. I said that was the sign that I was back.
And it's good to see Mel Pu'u back. And Titus, please, we got a question for you. I'm going to change the subject. We're talking about stand-up paddling, and that's some great insight. Contemporary, I want to get your guys' opinion of contemporary surfing, where contemporary surfing is here, now, today. Titus, first of all, you are a hero and an inspiration to one of our greatest world champions from Hawaii, Mr. Andy Irons. Always looked up to you. 3 world championships, and really put Kauai on the map. You were an inspiration for him, but how do you feel right now what's going on, on a world tour level in surfing?
I think right now surfing has come such a long way, and the level that it's at right now is just amazing. And just to think of the fact of where it's going and how much more it can increase, how many more levels it's going to go. I mean, there's so much incredible raw talent out there that anybody can just step right out of the box right now and just do some crazy stuff and just change the whole face of surfing. For me, I think the stuff that's going on in the surfing world right now is just amazing. I mean, come on, Kelly's my hero, man. Right? This is unbelievable, and I think Kelly's gonna go way into his 50s, so you guys better watch out. He's the man.
Well, all you guys are looking good for your age. I mean, I think as a whole, athletes have been able to increase and stay at a very good level up into their 40s and even their 50s. But now, let's talk a little bit about the next generation of surfers. All of you guys, Brian, Archie, Mel, Titus, all have been stewards, if you will, of surfing. Brought up so many surfers and been influential of so many surfers, including myself. Talk about the new generation, but Titus, I want you to talk about, you got some exciting new generation surfers of your own with your daughters.
I do.
Maluhia and Maine Kinimaka, who are wonderful surfers in their own right.
Exactly, and I'm extremely proud of them and for them. And I can only teach them by example, and I'm so proud of them. The fact that I always only wanted them to surf, and I just want them to know how to do it right, and they've taken it to a whole nother level beyond my imagination, and I'm so proud of them for that. And I just wanted them to get the surfing part, but they got more than that. They got the lifestyle. They got it all. They got the blessings. They're grateful. They're humble, and for me, I feel like I've done my job, and that's what every parent wants. They want that for their children. We all want the best for our kids, and then when your kid is taking it upon themselves to do you right, and with not wanting a tap on the shoulder or anything, they just want to do it because they know they can do it, and they have the spirit, And it's just amazing that to see the youth nowadays and how they're taking control of it all. You know, I think the youth is amazing today because they're so much more advanced compared to what we had. You know, we learned almost in the dark, kind of like, you know, we're braille our way all the way around everything the whole time. But the kids nowadays, everything's so high tech. You got to be really on your game, and I really admire that because the technology nowadays just forces you to be the best you can be, and I like that about the times nowadays. So it's a great time to be alive.
That's right. And surfing's been such a key to open up so many people's lives. And thank you. Mel, I want you to talk about a little bit about stewardship because you help a lot of youth. You have an annual contest, Brother Mel's, and you've introduced a lot of youth not just to surfing, but to also canoe surfing and brought up so many kids and given them opportunities. Let's talk about your event and some of the, and I want to talk a little bit about some of the influence, the positive influence that you've put in your own neighborhood, Macabre, because it's really been a give back 100%, and I applaud you on that. So let's just talk about a little bit about your event, Mel.
You know, for me, like I said, it's a great time to be around. Surfing has gone to so many different levels, like for stand-up and, you know, longboard, shortboard, canoe surfing for one. It's been one of my favorite things to do, especially when it's big. We've been able to take out some of the younger generation and turn them on pretty much to that section of the sport. And you know, we used to beat them all the time, and now they're beating us. You know, Nalu Forsyth, Wally Forsyth's grandson, Keaulana, he's just being forced to be reckoned with. These younger kids, in our point of view, kids, they just grew pretty much like with the same nurturing that we had when we were young. Brian and I and all of us with Buff teaching us how to, you know, catch a wave with a canoe. It's just my contest. When I first started doing my contest, I had my sponsors ask me to do an event, and I thought, well, I really didn't want to put my name out there. But I think 2005, my friend got paralyzed. So my wife said, you know, why don't you do a contest for Layton? And he was paralyzed from the neck down. So I told my wife, okay, we're going to do this for Layton. That's the saying we have on one of my shirts. It's called Looking Out for Layton. What I did was I got everybody that I knew, sponsors, and literally told them, I need you to support me in this. And we were able to raise money for him. I think the total amount was somewhere around $25,000 that we were able to raise for Layton. Yeah, thank you. He passed away 3 years later, but we still run the contest for him in his honor. But what I try to do with my contest every year is try and look for the next generation of kids that's doing something out there. I did a little bit of support for the junior lifeguard program, and I also did for the Dolan brothers that were vying for the Olympic kayak team. And this year we did a fundraiser for Leeward Kayak Canoe Club, the kids program, because I was tired of watching them go out with half-bladed paddles, you know. So that was my goal, to raise some money to get these paddles. And also because the kids would come and borrow my paddles and bust them up. So it was a way for me to keep my paddles in good shape. But yeah, that's my contest is held every December. and we've been very lucky. Or some people might say not too lucky, but we had really good waves, and so it's just been a really good event every year.
So you guys can check that out. That's December in Makaha, Brother Medals Contest. And Uncle Titus, we got one more
I
point.
got one more thing to say. Moms and dads, cherish your kids and really take care of them and nurture them, because for the past 15 years, my wife and I have been nurturing our kids, my daughters, and they've been surfing a lot. I'm really proud to say tonight that my daughter, Maluhia, was accepted into Stanford University yesterday. So I'm really proud for her. And normally I don't brag, but I gotta brag about this one, right? So congratulations, Maluhia. I love you, and good luck to you in your future. You're pretty much set up already. Aloha. I love you, baby.
All right, Mike Ka'i, Maluhia. So, on to Archie. When we're, you've just recently retired as an ocean safety, as a lifeguard captain. You've made your mark there, saving, with ocean safety and saving, countless lives. But what are some of the values that you would like to pass on to this next generation? This next generation, they're all ears. And want to hear some of the values that you'd like to pass on.
I kind of speak on behalf of all of us. Don't just say it, live it, do it. It's really funny. Surfers are very territorial, and when you go into a lineup, treat people like you want to be treated. Treat each other with respect. Don't be a hog cheese. Share the wave, share the lineup. And I think truly surfing or being in the water, period, whether you're body surfing, stand-up paddling, it's all about sharing. It's all about enjoying each other's company. It's really, really hard. Nowadays, you pull into the lineup and everybody's got a aggression attitude. And that's why I love Makaha. Because when you go to Makaha, it's all about sharing and playing. Everybody knows how to enjoy the ocean. And the seniors get priority. But I really honestly want to say this. And looking at the group of stand-up paddlers, we're starting to call you guys professional athletes because you guys are molding that field of stand-up paddling. Like Brian said, we see this thing, and we were talking about this today. It's going to a whole different level. But not only is it going to a level of athleticism, but also a level of respect and professionalism. I look at the guys that are surfing in this tour. I don't know everybody, but looking from the outside in, I look at guys like Connor Baxter, Kai Lenny, Zane Schweitzer, Cody Kerbox. The list goes on and on and on. But I look at how respectful all of these upcoming athletes are. As an ambassador, it really, really makes me feel good because I don't like to judge anybody, and I don't like to be judged. But when I try and categorize the way they present themselves and how much respect they have, not just to me or to us, but when they're in the water, I really pay attention to that. And it really makes me feel good to see the attitudes that they have, and they're spreading that aloha. And thank you. Give yourselves a hand. You guys deserve it. And the thing is our time on earth, our time in the water, when you really, really think about it, is really short. We gotta really enjoy it while we're there. And not put yourself first, but put others. When you start sharing, it becomes infectious. Then everybody else starts sharing. it doesn't matter what you do, but for us that are in the water, that's just how we try and live our lives. I literally, every time I paddle up in, there was this one place called Woody's. I was the only guy that would stand up there. Then all of a sudden, guys would see me there, guys would come, and then I'd paddle out, and the old timers would be telling me, Archie, you better go talk to that guy. And, you know, so I paddle over there. I kind of like make conversation with them and let all the surfers catch the wave. And then I try and tell them, hey, you know, you got to learn how to share. If you learn how to share the wave, everybody can ride the wave, then nobody's going to have any issues with you being out here. And just trying to live that by example and pass that on, I see that reflecting on the next generation. And, you know, for us, that's like raising your kids. That makes us feel good that we're looking at the next group of guys. Not only they're excelling performance-wise, but they're excelling as human beings. They're caring. They're doing the right things that we all need to do. So, again, I just want to aloha all you guys and thank you very much. And it's good to see the level and caliber of performance that you guys are performing at, and also the way you guys are carrying yourselves. I aloha you guys for that.
All right, so that's some great words of wisdom. I like a quote by Owl Chapman. He said before, it's not only just taking a wave, taking a wave, taking a wave. Sometimes it's good to give a wave. You never know. You could make a new friend, and he might have a good-looking sister. But let's talk about camaraderie, because you guys, I always think about you guys as just like almost brothers, but also there's a bigger world of camaraderie. Brian, this ocean sport ohana that we have has now turned into something global, and now we have friends from, because of our connection, all over the world. And I'd like you to speak a little bit about, you know, how big the ocean ohana has become.
You know, just data. You know, one of the things I keep telling people is that, you know, land doesn't separate us. Water connects us. And it doesn't matter where we come from. There's one body of water that connects all of us guys, and we all enjoy the ocean. You know, and saying that and stuff. So, you know, my mom and my dad has always taught us guys, Kaipo included, because he is, if you guys look at the resemblance, he is blood relative. Anyway, but everyone who walked on our beach, everyone who ventured on the ocean became part of our family. And, you know, my mom and dad would hanai or adopt that, you know, whether it was from Japan, New Zealand, Australia, and all of that and stuff too. And one of the things that we learned was, you know, we compete to be the best that we can be, but we also try to teach that knowledge and make them better than we are, because being number one, you can go nowhere. That's it. You've reached there. There's no place else to climb. But when you push someone to be better than yourself, now you get something to strive for. With me and Melvin, we used to compete all the time, back and forth. And we were challenging each other and making each other better and better and better. And then at one time, we were canoe surfing, both of us guys, on the same team. But we found out we were just blasting through everyone, and no one wanted to compete against us guys. And then we decided, you know what, you go make your own crew. Yeah, I go make my own crew so we can at least, you know, hone ourselves and become better. And then was, you know, for a second. But then my nephews started getting better, and some of the other boys started getting better. And when they started beating us, there's this $1 bill at my father's contest every year that goes around. And it doesn't matter on the trophy, or could be $50,000. That bragging right of that $1 bill is such an important bragging right thing, you know, in the local community. And that's the thing about camaraderie. You know, it's funny because, you know, I look at surfing as really one selfish sport where we go out and we compete for the best ride. We compete for the best photo. We compete for the best position. But, you know, when you're out in the ocean and stuff, you try to enjoy like one family and share. One of the things that we've been doing is I get this giant inflatable stand-up board we call a sub-squatch. So we go out, big, small, whatever, and talk about sharing. We get 5 guys in one 20-foot barrel, believe it or not, you know. And in fact, I get Melvin's daughters over here dropping down, doing 360s out there. We get the whole community at Makaha. When I tell everybody that we're going to sub-squash, the beach empties out. Literally, 2 guys in the water, 6 sub-squatches out in the water. Everybody laughing and enjoying and stuff also too. But that's the thing. It's not really about the vehicle you're on. It's about the enjoyment, you know, the fun that you have with one another, the stories that you have. I mean, some of the greatest stories is not the wave you caught, but the wipeout that you and survive. You know, how far you got flung, you know. I've seen these girls 20 feet in the air screaming across, you know, hitting a backwash and stuff. But that's the whole thing, guys. It's really about sharing camaraderie, you know, because if you cannot share your enjoyment with one another, then you're going to be real lonely of holding that plastic trophy that, you know, claim to fame and I won, you know.
That's a great point. So, what Brian's alluding to is the Buffalo Big Board Surfing Classic. That's going to be next weekend and the weekend after that at Makaha Surfing Beach. If you guys are still around, please come down, check out the event. And I think this year, you guys can get free entry. All you need to do is you got to tan your elemu because you're going to have to wear a malo, and that gets you in the contest for free. So that's going to be the next couple of weekends. We're going to see a lot of white buns at Makaha, I think, myself included. Oh, by the way, it's the Big Board Surfing Classic. So you come over with the stand-up boards. The minimum length for the stand-up board is 10 foot. Everything's 10 foot, 10 foot and above. So that's what qualifies a big board, and that's the way we keep it. And we do it as a sub-team challenge, and it is so entertaining to see, and it's really fun. Again, you're going to have the camaraderie, and yeah, and it's going to be a great event the next 2 weekends over at Makaha Surfing Beach. Mel and Titus, I got a question for you guys. As Hawaiians now, there's another subject. You know, Hawaii is a very special place. It's rich, you know, we're rich in culture. But music, the mele, seems to be very important, almost as important after the surf as during the surf. And let's talk a little bit about music, because I'm personally a fan of your music. Let's talk about the connection with surfing and music and the Hawaiian culture.
You know, it's pretty amazing. You know, Titus comes from Kauai. I come from Makaha. And we travel a lot with Quicksilver, and we end up playing together. And the first time that we traveled together, we started playing, and we were playing the same chords. We knew exactly what each other was going to do. We knew exactly what song that was, and it's because we had the same teacher. Yeah, Titus?
Yeah, his name was Boogie Kalama. Yeah. He's a famous Hawaiian surfer, legend, musician. And Boogie moved to Kauai in 1970, and I hastily wanted to be his roommate because I just adored the way he played the guitar. And he taught me a lot about the guitar and how to play Hawaiian music. And so Mel and I, we kind of emulated ourselves around to copy Uncle Boogie because he was such an incredible musician, just a beautiful, beautiful person. And he taught us a lot of pretty incredible stuff as far as being Hawaiians and respecting life and everything around us in the ocean, and taught us a lot about family and friends and canoe paddling and sharing our mana each other and sharing our love for the sea.
Yeah, Uncle Boogie was, for those of you who don't know, he was on the original voyage to Tahiti when everybody didn't think they could make it on Hokulea. He was on with Buffalo and Mau.
And he was the one that wrote the song Hokulea,
Yeah.
a very famous song about Hokulea. And so he really set precedence for us. We just always wanted to emulate Uncle Boogie, and so here we are about
Yeah.
30 years later, and we've traveled around the world playing music together for Quicksilver and surfing our brains out all over, and it's been a pretty sweet life. And the same life as well as for all the youth here tonight. You guys are going to be doing the same thing as well. I don't know about the music part, but the surfing part is no problem. You guys are the
See-
shit.
See, for us, the music part, it just came natural. Because growing up, you know, we had Uncle Boogie. But at Macau, we had Ned Kaupana, we had Dennis Pavao, we had the Macau Sons of Nihao. So whenever you went surfing, you came up and you could listen to these guys play live on the beach. And, you know, it was something, you know, back in the day, like Brian said earlier, there was no boom boxes. Nobody blasting their radio. Everybody just was sitting around, cooking food, drinking a beer, and listening to good music. When you had got too hot, you just jump in the water and you went surf.
And who doesn't surf to their favorite song?
Exactly.
Right?
We all
gotta
do it.
surf to music, and music is timing and beats, and that's what surfing is. It's all about timing and hitting your points. So
And
music and surfing is hand in glove, and that's been part of our lives.
And the next generation is starting to do that too, you know, with Makua Rothman. He's got a new album out there. And it's from what I hear, it's topping the charts.
Local.
Support local music.
So congratulations to Makua Rothman as well, you guys. Big shout to Makua. Thank you.
Yeah, Makua Rothman, his single "Lovely" debuted at #1 on the Reggae Billboard charts. So we're going to see more of that from Makua. And I want to thank these Hawaiian surfing legends here, Titus Kinimaka, Mel Pu'u, Archie Kalepa, and Brian Keaulana. Let's give it up one more time for them. I think we should stand up. I like that. We are... So, I think I'm gonna have Tristan come up here because, guys, I think we're gonna have some awards gonna be presented soon.
Okay, so we have Mel. We need to keep you up here just for a second here.
Please stay up, you guys.
We actually have just one more thing. While we're honored with the legends on stage here. We have another honoring to do. We have to present the awards for the 2013 world title. So we're going to get on to that in just a second. But before that, we need to just recognize our 2012 world champion who never received his trophy. So we're going to get him up on stage anyway to present him with the trophy. Leco Salazar from Brazil, your 2012 world champion.
All right, Leco.
So have we got Leco Salazar here? There he is. So you boys decide who's going to present. So beautifully handcrafted trophy by actually Titus's cousin, Leleo Kinimaka, who I believe is in the audience as well.
Hey, let's have Leleo stand up right here. This is the guy that did this wonderful woodwork right here.
There's Leleo Kinimaka, and
All right.
master craftsman.
And congratulations to Leco Salazar, our 2012 world champ.
So next up, we will go straight to the women. So it was an incredible year last year. We started here at Sunset in dramatic conditions, giant surf. We went on to Brazil. We were in Huntington Beach. And then we finished off actually in sunset-like conditions in France. So it was pretty good to see some giant surf. And it ended up being another Brazilian who got the world title in the women's division. All new last year was the Women's World Tour. Let's hear it for Nicole Pacelli from Brazil, your 2013 world champion.
And there she is.
So a great performance from Nicole. She'll be looking to defend her event title. She won the event here last year, the Turtle Bay Women's Pro. So that leaves us with a pretty dominant figure in stand-up paddling last year. He is from the islands of Hawaii. It is Keaulana, your 2013 world champion.
All right. Let's give it up for Keaulana. He won in dramatic fashion last year, if you will remember, in the final right here at the Turtle Bay Resort.
So, Kaipo, it's all about a start this weekend. As the ball starts rolling again, these guys are going to be battling it out for another year.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the upcoming competition, and the swell forecast looks okay. We're going to start off with women's tomorrow, right? Give us a little bit of a schedule of events, Tristan.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like women's could be going tomorrow morning. The call's at 7 o'clock. It'll be posted at watermanleague.com, so make sure you check that out, or on Facebook at the Stand Up World Tour page. And then Sunday looks really good for the starting of the main event, or the trials of the Sunset Beach Pro for the men. And then we'll just be playing it by ear through the week, but the forecast is looking pretty good. There's a couple of swells kind of backing up that's going to provide some great conditions and some great competition, so it should be a great week ahead.
All right, so are we going to continue on? We're done with this, and we're going to continue on with the evening.
Yeah, basically what's going on now, we would love you all to go up there. We're going to have the legends go up there and sign a few posters up in the corner, in the surfer corner there, where you see the posters. So if you want to get your poster with these legends, a poster signed with these legends, please go up and join them up there. You can also enter for a chance to win a pair of Olukai sandals, I believe, up at the Olukai table at the back. So definitely go up and check that out. And for you athletes who haven't registered yet, we do have a registration table right by the center console, kind of in the middle of the room. So a big thank you for joining us. Make sure to check in tomorrow for the call. And we also have another special event in the morning, the Kinimaka Youth Clinic, Dwayne DeSoto's mission to provide opportunities for underprivileged kids. So hopefully we'll have the legends out there with the sub-squatches and there's a canoe and stand-up paddle boards. We've even got a storytelling clinic. So definitely a lot of fun here at Turtle Bay. That'll be at Keaulana Cove. And then if the women's going off, it'll be on the west side. So we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. A big mahalo to our legends and another big round of applause for our Olukai legends.